Okay, I'm just going to sort of throw this out there. I love coming to Arizona. I love visiting all the different parts. I was just in Tucson and everything. I will say, though, as a state, y'all got to decide which of the restaurants are just fronts. Like, just absolutely not a business at all. I was in Tucson and we walked into a restaurant that they looked very surprised we could walk in. It seemed... We walk in and now there are not any other customers. It's 3 people that are towards the back, towards the kitchen. Not in the kitchen, like outside the kitchen at the last booth, just counting money. If you run a business, your eyes should never be wide when you see a customer. We walk in, everybody, just looking caught. I was with Dave. Dave was like, are y'all open? And in my head, I was like, if you have to ask. And they were like, first of all, if you open, just say yes. This is crazy. They were like, yeah, sit anywhere. Why are you saying it like you just thought of that? Like, then we sit down, and one of them walks up. We never see the other 2 again. The one of them walks up, and he got one menu. He was like, hey, yeah, I mean, get whatever you want. And then he is gone for a while. He's gone, and like, you could tell he was talking to the other ones, but so everybody whispering. But they're doing the loudest whispering I've heard in a long time. They're doing that panic whispering, because there's whispering where there's like, and then there's the whispering they were doing. It's like, well, and finally comes back up. He's like, hey, you decided on anything? And I was like, yeah, could we get some guacamole? And he was like, and then he left, and he was gone. He was gone for way longer than it takes to scoop guacamole. Like, I'm not complaining, I'm just noticing. I was like, all right, he already left us for quite a while after he gave us a menu, and now he's been gone for way longer. And then I see him, because in my head I'm like, oh, maybe he's making the guacamole. Maybe they're making it from scratch. Maybe it's one of those places. And sure enough, I see him walk out of the kitchen with a big old metal bowl, and you can hear him stirring the bowl and everything, stirring. And I think he's about to walk to our table, and he doesn't at all. This man walks out of the kitchen, is stirring the bowl, then walks up to the bar and grabbed some salt from the bar and started shaking it in the bowl. And I was like, your kitchen doesn't have salt? Seemed like salt would be the first thing in the kitchen. The only way that could have been worse is if he had walked up to my table and grabbed the salt. Then he went back to the kitchen. I guess kept stirring. It was a while. It was one of those things where I just started contemplating about how long it really takes to make guacamole. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, would I have made it faster at home? It feels like this restaurant was such a front that when we ordered the guacamole, he went to the back and he was like, listen, I made a list. You gotta go to the grocery store right now. All right, get 2 avocados, get 1 onion, 1 tomato, a little bit of pepper. Where's the salt? And then he finally brought out the guacamole, and it was funny the way he did it because he clearly made the guacamole, then slid it all into a cup, shook the cup real hard, and then put it down upside down because it was like a tower of guacamole. It was an upside down cup of guacamole on the plate with the chips all around, and like this just me noticing. I'm really not complaining, but it wasn't enough chips. It was clearly whatever chips were in the bag that was in the bag, because it wasn't the amount of chips you would need to finish this cup of guacamole stacked upside down. And the chips were interesting. They all had different consistency and everything. At a certain point, here's the thing about a chip for me. When I dip a chip in guacamole, just give it some strength. I hate to dip into guacamole and have it snap in front of me, and then I look crazy. I look like I don't know how to eat. Making me look greedy just because your chip doesn't have strong corners. So, take the chip, scoop some out, doesn't snap, already a good sign. And guacamole was actually phenomenal. It was actually really, really good. It was crazy. And so he was gone for a while, and then he comes back up like 10 minutes later, and he's like, "How is it?" And we were complimenting, like, "This is actually really good." And we shouldn't have said actually, but under the circumstance. You know what I mean? Like, just under the circumstance, that y'all look surprised to see us. So how are we supposed to know the guacamole would be good? You look like you didn't plan on making any today. We were like, "This is actually phenomenal. This is really, really good." And he was like, "Thanks, man. Wow, thank you." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Why do you seem like you really needed to hear that right now? It was crazy. He's like, "Yeah, man, just thank you. Thank you, dog. Appreciate it. Did y'all want to order something else? I will let you know before y'all order any cooked food. Our chef did leave, all right? I don't know when he gonna be back." It's like, all right, yeah, I guess y'all are a regular restaurant. That's fair enough. There's that, and then there's, especially when we were in Tucson, it felt like everybody was kind of trying to be healthy. There was so many like salad bowl places, but then there was an ice cream store next to every salad bowl place. This is the most ice cream stores per capita. There were ice cream stores across the street from each other, like rivals. And then while we were deciding where we were gonna eat, after we didn't eat, this dude was on a scooter, and he took a spill, right? He was on a scooter, and I don't know. I've never been a fan of these like bird scooters. These like, the one that you can just, as a pedestrian, hop on and ruin your life. You know what I'm talking about. You know the scooter that's just parked. You feel like you're stealing it. Like if it didn't take your phone to unlock it, you'd be like, "This is a crime I'm doing right now." And how is it built? Remember those scooters from when we were little that just had the brake on the very end of the back wheel? It's somehow that scooter mixed with the throttle from a motorcycle. Because why'd they make them go so fast? You got people driving next to cars on the scooter or just murdering pedestrians. Because there's no tutorial. All you need is a credit card and you could just become a bullet. This is insane. There's no video to watch or anything. You just get off. I'm gonna say some things that are a bit conflicting in nature, at least. Like, we saw a guy take a spill on one of these scooters, because why wouldn't you, right? And the way this man crashed didn't make any physical sense. Because he definitely crashed, like went over the handlebars, right? But by the time we turned and saw him, do you remember planking? This man did a mix of planking and a stop motion music video, because he didn't just slide up to us on the ground. He really like his whole body kept trying to stop on the pavement. I know that hurt. Glasses flew forward, flew off his head. Glasses weren't done flying. I don't know what I said. I was like, oh my gosh. And I don't know. I wish I was a hero. I was one of those type of people that like springs into action. That's not who I am at all. I just kept standing there like, ooh. Wow. You look hurt. It's not good at all. It's not right what I did. And I didn't mean to do anything. And I didn't do anything to help. I just, whoa. It was my buddy picked up his glasses, walked up to him and was like, hey, are you okay? You know, and this is the thing as men, like just as guys, right? For real, just it's okay to be hurt. I don't just mean that in some sort of like metaphorical, I mean like if you get hurt, it is all right to be like, ow. Because we basically watched this man die. But then when we asked him if he was okay, after he got done sliding, and he realized we saw, but we were like, are you all right? This man in front of us just started doing push-ups. Dog, no. You're not gonna convince us that this was part of the plan. That's only a man could like do something like, only a man could like wreck a car, fly out the windshield, wrap himself around a tree, and then grab a branch and be like, one. Like, in what world? You must be out of your mind. Doing push-ups, and then my buddy walked up with his glasses and then handed him his glasses. He was about to leave his glasses. He was about to get back all this, because here's the thing. This is one thing that I can say I relate to with my man here. When I fall, I also want to make sure that I never see the people who saw me fall again. When I fall, if I fall in front of you, it's either me or you. I gotta kill you now, and I hate that. But one of us has to go. This is too embarrassing. And so my man was about to drive off on the scooter he just fell from. I assume he needs glasses if he's wearing glasses. This man was about to get back on the scooter blind and drive off just to not be in front of us anymore. And my buddy walks up, hands his glasses back to him, and he's like, yeah, that thing got me. Just got me. And my buddy was like, the curb? Yeah, it tends to do that. Like, you gotta really pick street or sidewalk. The curb is kind of the only thing keeping those two apart. And then we noticed, like, he actually, you know, from all the sliding, he actually did scrape his chin pretty hard. So his chin was bleeding at there. My buddy even said, he's like, you're bleeding. right? And then he goes, I know. No. You can't out tough blood. I was insane. But I've been having a great time in Arizona. You know? It's been very fun. Can I tell you? It has been cracking me up. Apparently, it looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene is gonna step down in January, right? Look, y'all cheer, but that means there's room for somebody crazier. That's so wild. Woo! The next person shows up. You're like, oh, maybe not. Because this is my thing. It is very funny to me that it took this little resistance for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be like, you know what, I'm up out of here. I don't know. The rumor is that Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate, and Trump said he wouldn't support her for Senate, that he'd only support her if she stayed in her House position. Now, I don't know if that's because of the fact that they need the numbers where they are, or because he doesn't believe that she could win the entire state. Whatever it is, he told her no. And and then something changed. He told her no, and then something changed between them. You know what I mean? Like she was like, I think I want to go to the Senate, and Trump said no, and then she was like, oh my God, you're in the Epstein files. Like it was like it was pretty crazy. Because she has been she's been attacked with all the vindictive nature of somebody who wanted something and didn't get it. You know what I mean? Because now she won't like fully come out against him and say like, oh, you are covering up, you specifically. She keeps acting confused. I don't know why. No. If you ever date anybody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, you already know the tactic. I don't know why. Isn't that weird? I think it's kind of funny how like... Isn't that crazy that he just like won't release the Epstein file? Like, and I'm not even saying he did anything. I'm just saying, isn't it crazy that it kind of looks like that because he's like protesting too much? Nah. And then it came to a head. Then, you know, Trump attacked her back and everything. You know, y'all saw. This woman's crazy. You know, it's what a lot of people say about their exes. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can't believe she's a lunatic. All this stuff. And then she was like, oh, I'm crazy. That's the thing about calling somebody crazy who might actually be crazy, is that they never take it well, but they take it better than you think they're going to take it. They have a crazy reaction to it. It's like, oh, I'm crazy. Fine. It's like, what does that mean? And then she just kept going. She just kept, you know, beating that Epstein drum. He kept coming after her. Then he called her a traitor. Who would have thought that traitor hurt more than crazy? Do you know what I mean? This man was calling her a lunatic, called her every type of out of her name, out of your mind thing you could say about a person. And then he finally said she was a traitor, and she was like, whoa. I didn't know the gloves were off. That was crazy. Because then she had a press conference. She had a press conference. And then behind her were a bunch of Epstein survivors. Yeah, like a bunch of women who were like, no, we've publicly been calling for the release of Epstein files forever, and then Marjorie standing right in front of them, got the microphones way too high. They should have given her a stool or something. That wasn't. I don't even like her, and that wasn't fair. That was. Is she the shortest person that's ever lived? Why would they do that? That's insane that they even let the. Just one step stool would have fixed that whole situation. They let her walk up. Who knows? Maybe they tried to help her. Maybe they did. Maybe they were like, you really should, to get to the lectern, you should probably have a little steps, do something like that. She was like, now the truth will make me tall. No, I'm sure she said something like that. And then she got up there. Now she got to talk up. And
the president. The president called me a traitor.
Anytime you talk under the mic, you do sound like a munchkin. Like it's just like it does.
The president called me a traitor. Let me tell you what a traitor is.
I was really trying to take her serious the whole time. But you even saw the women behind her be like, oh. And she almost, it was a moment. Look, maybe it's wishful thinking on my part. I'm willing to admit that. But there's a moment where I could swear she almost said president. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a moment she's alluding. She doesn't say it. She still doesn't quite say it. But she's over here.
A traitor is is someone that sells this country out in billions of dollars to Argentina.
Like, Margie, just say his name. Who else did that? Do you know what I mean? That's like when you live with a girlfriend, they're like, somebody didn't take out the trash last night. It's like, well, it's only two of us here, so if you're not saying it's you, why don't you just call me out then? No, and then she said she's stepping down in January. Okay. All right. Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. It is, because it's like she did, like I will say. So I'm trying to figure out how to put this. She did undergo a lot of harsh treatment from people based on Trump attacking her. Like when Trump attacked her, a lot of like MAGA itself seemed to turn on her in a way that I'm just saying this as a spectator. Not taking any sides, I'm just saying. It does seem a little weird and unfair that you attack her now when she's like, how about we release the Epstein files? She's getting all sorts of threats and everything, all sorts of attacks and stuff. And then she went on CNN, trying to, I guess, do like some sort of like image rehabilitation or something like that. And she gets on there and she's like, I'm sorry for the toxic politics that I've been a part of. I'm pretty sure it was Data Bash. Data Bash is over here like, all right, well, I have a list to go through. We're not just gonna let you keep it vague like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene saying, I'm sorry for like the toxic politics I've engaged in. What do you mean? That's most of what you did. Like, that would be like Jeffrey Dahmer coming out and being like, I'm sorry for the bites I took. Like, it's... Whoa, you are grossly understating your impact on the community. This is wild. You know, then she just started going down the list. Like, are you sorry for when you liked a bunch of tweets about putting people to death? And she's like, you know what? I would love to move forward. I already deleted a lot of those tweets. Yeah, it was wild. Yeah, it was very funny to watch to me because I was like, all right, look, maybe she's like changing, or maybe she just really wanted that Senate seat. Like, maybe she's really upset that Senate seat's not going to happen. And then she's asked about that. It's like, I'm hearing that, you know, some of your break from Trump wasn't necessarily a change in ideology. It was the fact that you wanted to run for Senate and he said no. And then she was like, that's absolutely untrue. I haven't even talked to the president about that. And then she talks about how she's been getting all these threats and everything. And look, I will say, nobody should be getting, like, you know, threats online or any of that stuff. Like sometimes it happens to somebody that's not a particularly good person, so you do care a bit less. But overall, no matter who it happens to, the whole idea of being better than the idea of doing something is you actually have to be better. You know what I mean? If you're on the side that's better, you have to be better, you have to act better, and sometimes that just means like not engaging in the thing. It shouldn't be a race to the bottom. And it is wild that people talk about like a violent, radical left all the time, but somebody just sort of like sicked the right on Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she was like, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't know. These people have guns. And it does just blow my mind. That like really took me aback. The irony there. You know? Like okay. I didn't know this dude personally, but there was the story that I was told when I was living in Chicago about this dude that basically, all right, it should make me laugh because I'm glad it happened to me. But there was a guy in Chicago. I used to live in Rogers Park, and there was a dude apparently in like Edgewater area, which is a little bit south of where I lived, that he would rob people, right? And the way he robbed people is he just had like 3 rocks and a sock, and he would just and it is, I don't know, it's like, that's terrifying. I don't know, I'm not saying a gun would be better, but a gun would be conventional. You know, like, is an upsetting idea that you could be robbed in a sort of David Goliath type situation. You know? Nobody prepares for that. Like, You know what I mean? If somebody has a knife, you like, no, okay, they mean business, right? If somebody got 3 rocks and a sock, you like, are they serious? And so he would rob people, right? And he did this like off and on in the area for like a month and a half. Like people would just talk about it. I used to work at a grocery store that was like in that area, so people would just be talking about it at work and everything. And then finally, there was one day he tried to rob somebody with his rocks in his sock. But they had a shovel. Apparently they hit him with a shovel and took 5 wallets off of him. That's a version of what Marjorie Taylor Greene must be going through. You know what I mean? It's like she did all this stuff for so long, and now finally she the one getting threats, and she's like, these people are crazy. It was really upsetting stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I don't even know where she'll go after this. Because a lot of people move from government to like the private sector. They do a lot of speaking engagements and stuff like that. They do a lot of... I don't know. I really don't. Yeah, I mean, who's gonna hire Marjorie Taylor Greene for a speaking engagement? I mean, I'm sure there's organizations out there that are like, yeah, go up there and tell them how everybody's a lizard. Go ahead.
What you have to understand about the lizard people that they have and wear skin just like ours. They walk amongst us.
No, I've been trying my best to improve, you know. I've been trying to like work out and stuff. I feel like some of my friends that have worked out have seen progress, and I was like, I would like some progress. So I started working out, but nobody tells you, man. Nobody tells you that working out should be something I do more often or not at all. Like it's crazy because you'll want to. I used to want to get big. I used to want to be like a big guy. Every year I have hope. Hope is a hell of a drug. Every year I got hope I'm gonna turn it all around this year, you know? And it's like I'm gonna be like a bigger dude. And it's not, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen as I'm gonna stop trying. I'm saying it's not gonna happen as in I have to accept that I'm done growing. So whatever I do from here on out is just gonna be more horizontal than vertical. You know? So it's like, even if I got big now, that'd be bad. I didn't get tall. I'm not tall. So then I would just be wide. So then and a wide, muscular guy is on no one's list. There's no one that's I can't wait to get to that stout, fit man. I love that build of the guy who looked like he worked out for the circus. I love that. It's never been said by anybody. Because you would even, if you got really fit, but you were like, still, I don't know, like regular height to short. It is funny, when you're regular height, like apparently I'm regular height. I didn't even check. Somebody just told me that. But they were told, they did tell me that when I was having a bad day, so it might not even be true. Like it's... I wasn't even bummed out about my height. I was having a bad day, and they were like, "You regular height?" And I was like, "That's a weird thing to bring up." But there's no way, like, it just, as a man, there's no way to be regular height. You're short. Because when you even say I'm regular height, that's a short thing to say. Do you know how little you look screaming I'm regular? You look like you lost 6 inches right there. Standing up with your back, because you got your back straight so that you get all your height credit. You know what I mean? You got the back. And you mad too. Anytime you get mad, but you gotta look up a little, it makes you look shorter than you are too. Like, tall men may always seem like a threat, but at least people take them seriously when they're angry, you know? Like, if you regular height and you get mad and you're like, I'm regular. Nah, you're a little guy now, you know? And so I've been working out, but it's like, I don't know, nothing's happening. Nothing's happening, you know? Like, you be like, oh yeah, I'll even see other people's transformation video where they're like, I worked out for 8 months and look at me now and look at me then. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, let's try that. And then you go to the gym and it just hurt. They leave that out, that is gonna just hurt the whole time. Everything you wanna do hurt. Like, you want big arms, you're gonna have to hurt your arms for a while. You basically gonna have to hurt your arms 3 times a week and make sure you eat enough steak but don't have a heart attack. It is crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, get all your protein in. It's like, all right, but what if I'm ready to throw up? Like, I can only eat so much. I'm regular height. You can't fit all the food in you. You need to be bigger if you want to be bigger with muscle. You could be bigger just in general. You could just start with Oreos and never stop, and then I could be a bigger man that way, yes. But I was trying to do it like that back of the arm muscle. You know that one that like flexes when you point? Just try and get one of those. I mean, hopefully 2. You would hate to just have one. Be terrible. Be terrible. You out here working your hardest too. You know, just working, doing pull-ups and pushes. We gotta figure out which one of these exercises work. You know what I mean? Some of them are like functional. Like I understand a deadlift to me makes sense because it's picking up the heavy. That's the dumbest way I could have said it, but it's true. A deadlift is just you pick up heavy. And then if you pick up heavy, strong. This must have been how the cavemen said it. You know what I mean? This must have been how, like, when they were first inventing working out, when they were like, oh, your life isn't that hard, so you're not as strong as us, so if you want to get as strong as us, you have to simulate it. They didn't say simulate, that word wasn't invented yet, but like, you have to simulate it by doing as much work as we do, but just doing it in like little intervals. They wouldn't have said intervals either, but they were just like, pick up big, then strong, right? And then somebody picked it up. Again, and they picked it up again. And then they picked it up to a point where it was easy. And it was like, all right, you're strong now. That is strong, you know? And it's always nice, especially if you're regular height, to be strong. Because nobody expects it. I don't know what it is we do. I don't know why we do this. But there is a certain amount of help needed on the shelf, we assume that person also can't pick up stuff. Because they made, I don't know why they did this, by the way, but they made a shelf at the grocery store that is 1 finger higher than regular height. It's one, because you can touch it. This is extra embarrassing. When you can touch, And now you gotta strategically finger a cereal box. And because you try to use your two fingers. You try to use your two fingers to like clamp the sides and pull. And then pull back, right? But if you can't clamp it, you have to try to slide it and then knock it over on your own head. The amount of times I've knocked a box into my own face, and now somebody turned the corner, I'm standing at the grocery store holding my eye, acting like I'm not hurt. Caught a corner in the eye. Corner of a cereal box. I don't know, why would they do that? It's crazy. Why would you do that? No one likes it. Just stop using that shelf. Put an ad on that shelf. I'll look up. Stop doing that, because then it puts us both in a terrible position. Puts us both in a very bad position, because now I gotta ask a tall man for help. I'd rather die. Now I gotta ask a tall man to help me like I'm his child. I don't know him. And then he gotta help me or else he evil. I do have a tall friend who gets asked all the time for stuff like that, and he doesn't do it at all. And I'm like, you know how many people just wishing death on you? Like, do you know how many people, you over here walking down the aisle, and there's just little people, can you get the pickles? And then you over here, nah, I'm good. And it's like, that's a crazy thing. It's your day. You should be able to do what you want with your day, but that is a crazy way to respond. Somebody needs help because the grocery store ran out of space, I guess, so they had to build up. So they made a skyscraper shelf that nobody can reach up, so that you reach up as hard as you can, and you over here. Trying to caress this jar of pickles so you can hopefully catch some glass in the face. It is terrible. One time, okay, this is really bad. I was furious. There was this one time I was at a grocery store and I just needed some taco seasoning, right? And they put it on the highest shelf in the spice aisle. It's over here. And this was one of those ones where they sell the packets, all the packets individually, but they sell it as an individual thing, even though the box comes with all the packets in it. So then the people that work at the grocery store, I know because I used to do this when I worked at the grocery store, they rip the top of the box and then all of the packets are just in there, right? And so it's at the top of the shelf because somebody is Satan. And so then they put this one in the top. And so I'm reaching up and I'm trying to, the only thing I can think to do is just go ahead and try to get my finger in the box so I can slide the whole thing out, grab one, and then put it back, right? And so I pull the whole thing down. The whole thing starts coming down. I get ready to catch it with my hand, but I guess one of these packets was defective because it was at least like halfway open. So as I look up and I get seasoned in the eyes. The ingredients of some of this taco seasoning is heinous. This is cayenne pepper. This is paprika. This is everything red. Everything red and dry is in the packet. So then I catch seasoning in the eyes. I start screaming, right? Look at that. Look at what y'all done. Now, because y'all wanted this extra shelf, I'm screaming in the spice aisle. Begging for help. No, because now, tall person walk by. I hate when somebody tall offer me help too. Get away from me. I'm doing it, all right? Especially, nothing get me like when I almost got it. Edge is about to slide off the top of the shelf. I almost got it. And then walk up, do you need help? Where were you 45 seconds ago? Now you want to help now that all the work's been done. I don't actually hate tall men. I'm like mostly joking. I am. I do have a friend. He's 6'3", and one time he was crying, and I didn't feel bad for him. Yeah, I mean, I was like, come on, man. What are you so bummed out about? You know what I mean? So sad. Ooh. Because he also cried tall, you know what I mean? Yeah, I was like, he was... And has a deeper register because of, out here crying like he at the top of a beanstalk or something. What are you crying for? Just stand up. Like, as soon as you stand up, be like, oh yeah. No, I understand. I'm clearly joking. Tall people do have problems. Like door frames. You know? Right before the pandemic, I got real fit. That was the fittest I'd ever been in my life. Like, I was running, and it wasn't even an emergency. There's only two reasons to run, from or to. But I was running, because when I started running, I wasn't good at running at all. And I don't mean that I fell. I could run, like I was running. But I wasn't a good runner in that when I would run for exercise, like let's say I was just out having a run, it did look like an emergency to the people who were witnessing me run. Like, they weren't like, he is jogging. They were like, uh-oh. Like, because I don't run well. I run like it's the start of the disaster movie. I run like I found out about the zombies first. And I left everybody and just let them, like the first zombie bit somebody and I was like, okay. And I dipped out. Because the way that I start running is not good. Like because when I start running, because it feels dumb to start running at all. Do you know what I mean? When you're already running, especially if you're if you're fit, or if you're just like a general like hot person, or if you got a good stride, running looks good on you. You see people, like when people run the marathon and they're doing that like kick as they run, that like, I'm like, what is that? I've never seen somebody run so efficiently, But to start running, and it's not a race. You're just running because you wanted to. This is your workout. And you decide you're going to run today. And, you don't want to start running like it's actual. You don't want to bend down. That seems very dumb. So the way that I start running, it just doesn't look good. It's like I start running like I just started running. Like it looks bad when you see it. It doesn't help that I look behind me. Yeah, I just start running. There was one time I was running for a workout, and I had been running all week, so I had been doing a couple miles all week. So by this like 5th, 6th day, I was actually super comfortable with running. I didn't feel as dumb doing it because I had been doing it for so long. I was like, I'm getting there. I get a couple miles in every day, get home, I've worked out. This is great, right? And then I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Now that I've built up a sort of tolerance around getting started, I got my confidence up, I'm gonna try to run faster and a little further than I have the other days. I think this is how people get fit. And so I take off, right? And I take off exactly like we talked about. This is still how I start running. Right? But I take off running, and as I take off running, I start like kicking, trying to do the like stride kick I see the runners do in the marathon or in like clips on Instagram, stuff like that. I'm really trying to run. And then I'm picking up speed because I'm like, look, I can stop running whenever I want, so I might as well run as hard as I can, right? And so I was running. Then I noticed this guy behind me, and it was like he was running the same way that I was running. So I was like, oh, I wonder if that Forrest Gump thing is happening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if I'm oozing so much confidence I hadn't got a follower. And so then I start running a little harder, and then he's also running behind me a little bit harder, and we're both running in a way that like we're running together, but we're still decently apart and everything. And finally, I'm starting to get a little tired. I'm like, okay, I mean, I don't want to let him down, but I do want to stop now. Like, I'm not built for the Forrest Gump thing at all. Like, I don't think I could run long enough to start an entire run club or anything like that. I really didn't even want to do 2 miles, but I keep running, and now I'm like panting, but now I'm really pushing. And then they talk about hitting a wall and like a runner's high and stuff like that. I didn't feel any of that. It was all pain. It was all just like, I got that stitch in my side, like where your side starts to stab you because it's like, what are you doing? Why are you running, stupid? We're not meant to run. Sit down. And so then my side starts hurting, but then I'm holding my side as I'm running, which then looks really bad. Like, if it looked bad when I start running, seeing me run, And then I finally slow down enough that this guy catches up to me. And I'm winded, and he's winded too. I'm like, oh, okay, so he's just like me. We're both getting started running. This is amazing. I've made a friend. Running. This I've all said in my head. I'm too winded to speak. But I'm like doubled over. And he's doubled over. And then finally he says something. He's like, what was it? I was like, what was what? He was like, what did you see? What do you mean? He's like, I saw you and I thought something bad must have happened. You know who works out hard? Marjorie Taylor Greene. I think that makes her even scarier because it's like, usually when you meet somebody who believes a bunch of conspiracy theories, they've been like, you know what I mean? And separated from society and in a basement for too long. You never meet anybody strong who's like, hey, have you heard about the lizard people? Okay, all right, this is very uncomfortable because you could also kill me. Like, there's a young woman named Riley Gaines, right? And Riley Gaines is famous because she was a swimmer, and basically in, I guess, the biggest competition of her life, she placed 5th, and a trans woman placed 4th. And so she's like, oh, if that athlete was not in the race, I would have qualified and gone on to the next stage. And that's like the hill she's dying on. That started her political career, and then that's why she gets invited to all these speaking engagements. And it is wild to me that you would tell so many people you were never gonna win. Like that's crazy. Because here's the thing. Fifth means you weren't close. Fifth is crazy. Like that's, you know what I mean? You don't even have a silver medal type of bone to pick. It's like they don't make podiums for where you were gonna place. Even if this person was not in your way, all right, you still can't swim as good as other people. Like, to be fair, look, I can't swim at all. I'm not a swimmer, right? I'm not a swimmer at all. I'm trying to learn, but it feels like I'm fighting the water when I'm in there. But I don't broadcast it. You know what I mean? I'm telling you right now, for the sake of the conversation that we're having, that I can't swim. But I don't do speaking engagements where I'm like, I can't even swim that well. Pay me. Pay me money because I came in fifth, which is not close to first. Man. It's like, and just, I don't know, it's like, because there's a very there's a very hateful approach to a lot of the things that she says. And it's like, but you, in theory, wouldn't you be thanking this person? Because this person, that's the reason that you say you came in fifth. If they weren't there, you would have come in fourth. And then you just wouldn't be that great of a swimmer. You'd have nothing to talk about. This person gave you a career. Now you can travel the country being like, I can't believe I came in fifth because of this trans person. This trans person is why I came in fifth. Because no one would give you money for a speaking engagement if you were like, I came in fourth against all these cis women. What's someone gonna do about that? Just throwing it out there. No, you weren't close. Fifth is, like, look, I'm not saying fifth is bad. I would have come in last. But fifth is not close to, there's several people. There's several people between you and winning. A substantial amount of people. There were enough people in between you and winning to pull you out of the water if you were drowning. Like, that's a crazy amount of distance between you and number one. That's just a fact. It's a fact that you admit when you do speaking engagements where you're like, oh, I was so close to kind of qualifying. And that's just because they take the top four. If they decide to take the top three, you'd be even further from, I don't know, it's a lot of money to make to be a failure. Like, your whole thing is swimming. Your whole thing is swimming, and you didn't do it. Like, you swam, like, you didn't drown, but like you. It just feels like that's what a lot of this stuff is, you know? It's a lot of an attachment to someone to blame for something you were never gonna get anyway. You know? Like, that's what a lot of it is. It's like sometimes I'll see people, even with the idea of like taking jobs, right? Oh, they're coming to this country, they're taking the jobs, and it's like, yeah, okay. They're taking the jobs. What do you do? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird when it's like an assistant manager at like a Wendy's being like, they're taking the jobs. It's like, yeah, but not this job. Like, what's... Like some of the people that are so mad, I'm like, yes, but they are not in between you and the thing that you want. The person in between you and the thing that you want is the person who already has it. Is someone doing better than you? Is someone doing better than you that has it? So if you wanted a better job, the person that you should be mad at is the person that gives out the better jobs. The person who is willing to do any job is doing worse than you. It's weird to blame them when they don't affect you at all. Not like that. So then the person you should be mad at is the person who is keeping, and they planned it. They planned this whole thing. They made it so that you would blame this person, because when you do, you're not looking up at who's holding up all the stuff over your head. You should be mad at them up here, the way that you would get mad at like a tall person walking up to you as you're like trying so hard. You're trying to pinch as hard as you can, like just a better job, just more opportunity. And they're like, hey, you want some help? Do you feel like is it help? No. How are you gonna get mad at somebody doing worse than you? No, they're not keeping you from anything, you know? It's like getting mad at the bottom shelf because you couldn't reach the top. I mean, it's like... It's like getting mad that you're in 5th place when you were never gonna be first. I just can't get over that. Because I remember the first time I heard about Riley Gaines, I genuinely, what I thought happened was that she was second. And then a trans athlete came in first, and she was like, oh, you stole from me. You know what I mean? And then when I heard that they don't even make a type of medal for the position she came in, it goes gold, silver, bronze. I guess you could give 4th place like aluminum or something, and then you could give 5th place like wood, maybe. You got the wooden medal in swimming. You got the waterlogged medal in swimming. Yeah. No, I don't know, it blows my mind. It just feels like so much of what politics is based off of is that thing. You are keeping me from what I want. I want this. You are the reason that I'm not getting it. Not the politician. Not the person who like signs bills into law. There's just like this person over there, somehow more powerful than the person who had to be sworn in and get all these votes and have all this money and has donors and has people who call them that they better pick up the phone for, you know. That person, not as powerful as random person from another country, you know? Because it's not just about immigrants, it's everybody. It's every type of other. And it's every type of other until there is no other. Because then you'll see it sometimes happen. It does happen on like a final phase level to white women the most. Like hardcore conservative white women who are in the room helping make decisions and everything. There will eventually be a thing where, for whatever reason, you're around a bunch of other conservative men and then they want you out of the room. There's only so many spots and you can't take up a spot. You're not really one of us. You're an other. And you're like, no, but I'm not an other. It's like, you are. No, you are. You are. And you'll know it at like the worst time. It'll be like when you finally want something. You've done everything that you're supposed to do. You voted the right way, you said all the right things, you hold all the right beliefs, you do everything that you're told to do, from whether it's from a young age you grew up in a conservative family or you have these conservative values and you're doing everything that you're supposed to do. You're doing everything towards the sort of life and country that you want, and then you finally want something, but maybe you want something that's a little bit out of your place to have. You know, maybe you want to step into a position that other people don't want to see you in, right? Maybe you want to be like a senator, and right now you're a House rep, and so then they tell you no. I know you've campaigned for me. I know you've spent millions of your own money trying to help me. I know that you've had my back every step of the way, but like, no, come on, no. And maybe it's not because you're a woman. Maybe it's because you're out of your mind. But like no, just no. And do with that what you will. And then she's like, oh my God, you're in the Epstein files. No, I can't believe it. Oh my God. Oh, Phoenix, y'all been phenomenal. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I was reading the news and I saw this Mark Robinson. If y'all don't know who that is, he's a lieutenant governor of North Carolina, and he's running for governor of North Carolina as the GOP candidate. And a bunch of news came out where basically there are these profiles that they found of him from a long time ago being on porn sites saying the craziest stuff you can imagine, right? And this is my thing. First of all, this is a terrifying and dangerous man, and I know that because he leaves comments on the message boards of porn sites. What? A porn site is simple, okay? You get in and you get out. You don't stay to chat. What's wrong with you? You're not here to make friends. You are out of your mind. Why are you just on here being with? That's weird as hell. No one I've ever met has been like, oh, well, I can't wait to log on and talk. That's a real sick man right there. That's crazy. And just so you know, Mark Robinson has been endorsed by Trump. Trump would stump with him and stuff like that. And he's been at Trump rallies and stuff. And then, Mark Robinson's a very big man. He's huge. He's a large guy. And Trump called Mark Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids. Because I don't think he understands how steroids work. They don't just make you bigger in general. Like, they don't balloon you. Like, you gotta work out a little bit. You gotta do something. Mark Robinson is over here being like, I think, I don't know what opinions he truly holds. I don't, because, politicians lie and they pretend to be who they think you want them to be. But it seems like he's trying to appeal to the most radical version of a conservative, right? And he has his little taglines, and he gets in with like phrases. I think that's why Trump likens him to Martin Luther King, because he tries to put on like an MLK-esque voice when he speaks and everything, but he says stuff that he sure as base wants to hear. And he said really horrific stuff about gay people, about trans people and everything. And they uncovered all of these things that he had said on the message boards of these porn sites because his username sometimes was his name. Fellas, I understand that sometimes we're in the heat of the moment and you go to one of these illicit sites, and the site asks you questions. Maybe the site, in order to enter, they want an email or something, or they... As eager as you are, please do not give them your actual information. This goes out to everybody. I don't care what you believe in, who you're voting for. Please do not give a porn site your real name and email address you use for work. I know it's the first email address that comes to mind when you've got other things on the mind, but make up an email address real quick. I know that sometimes that takes a second because then you got to make a fake Google account. You got to go back. You got to accept the email from the porn site and then just look. But make it so they don't know it's you every time. It shouldn't be that hard, but apparently it is, because then CNN and the journalists on CNN, I don't remember if they're actually like CNN affiliates, but basically the journalists that looked into it found that on lots of, porn sites, he was using the same username, the same handles, which turned out to be the same usernames and the same handles he used on like Twitter and like... Fellas, even if it means coming up with a fake name right now, just come up with something to say in your mind. The fact that he was using his email all the time, but it makes sense. I guess he would use his email because he was using his name and he was commenting and all that. So he probably wanted to get the feedback from what people were saying to what he was saying. Now that I think about it, maybe it was more intentional than dumb. But he said insane things. This dude, first of all, on a porn site, no one is looking for feedback, really. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's some. Maybe some crowd-funded, crowd-sourced. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm sure. Look, I haven't been on OnlyFans, but I'm sure with an OnlyFans, there are people that are like, I made this thing. I hope people like it. Let me get some feedback. This is what they like. This is what they don't like. That makes sense, right? But if you're just out in the world watching whatever comes up, and then you're just commenting all the time, you need a friend. This dude said such insane things. Some of them I can't repeat, but a couple of them I will. This dude said, unprovoked, I'm a black Nazi. I don't know where you begin with I'm a black Nazi from a black dude who should have probably left the porn site by now. He said other stuff. He was like, I would rather Hitler in office than the people that are in there now. I'm more confused than angry. I'm not gonna lie. And then he said stuff about how, like, my man, slavery wasn't that bad. I wish they would bring back slavery. I'd buy a couple. Mind you, this is on a porn site. What wires do you have crossed in your head? Does being horny make you angry? What? In what world does that come up? It's very specific. In what world are you on a porn site? I think you're like, what really needs to be fixed? The Senate. Bruh. What? You know, I do my best. I really do. I do my best to try to understand people, and I don't get this one. This is beyond me. Because even outside of what he said on the sites, it's also some of the things that make him unfit for office are just what he says out in the open. The way that he talks about people who are definitely his constituents, you know? There are gay people in North Carolina. There are trans people in North Carolina. So when he speaks, he's speaking about them and sometimes to them. And he says very sick, hateful things, you know? And just the way that he has this weird, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I try to love everybody, but it's very hard to love a black man that hates being a black man. It is jarring. You don't even know where to start. And the thing that I think maybe he thinks is that his proximity to whiteness and what the white people around him like will be his safety. And it's not going to be the case. Fundamentally, it won't. You know? Because when you say things like slavery wasn't that bad, I wish they would bring back slavery, I'd buy a couple. Who do you think? It's hard to get to the bottom of what this person is thinking, because it's so crazy, you know? It's like, it's one of those things where you look at the state of politics, and it's one thing to lie, and it's one thing to say what you think people want to hear, but it's another thing to be an absolute lunatic and already in office, because he's already lieutenant governor. So governor's not that far of a stretch. And he got to be lieutenant governor saying mostly what he says now, minus the porn stuff. And it's so bad that Donald Trump himself, the dude who would stump with them, this is Martin Luther King on steroids. He doesn't know what steroids are. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Donald Trump's campaign is even telling him, hey, you may need to drop out. If Donald Trump's campaign Donald J. Trump's campaign is telling you to drop out, you should probably leave Earth. The idea that Donald Trump's campaign is like, this guy, ugh. The fact that Trump distanced himself from Mark Robinson, Trump done distanced himself from Nazis. The fact that he was like, oof, this is pretty weird, right? You know? Like, Trump didn't denounce the Proud Boys openly. They asked him about the Proud Men, and he was like, you know, boys will be boys, I guess, or whatever. But you, no. And that's exactly what I mean. Your proximity to whiteness won't save you. You're actually saying and doing some of the same things that the people say and do that Trump didn't distance himself from. But he's getting as far away as he can from your black ass. He's getting so far away from you, you would think he was on steroids. I think a lot about how we think about each other and we treat each other, especially now with like an election on us, you know? Everybody's exhausted. Why do we even do it this way? You know, in like France, they're like 3 months out, they're like, who should we pick? Like we're the only ones that make it a season and a half of TV. Like, no one else in the world does this. No one else in the world is like, all right, 2024, let's start talking about 2028. Why do we do it this way? And then you watch people, watch how they react to people, you know? Like I'm having a tougher time than I've ever had with the things that are being said, you know? Everybody expects politicians to lie. Everybody expects politicians to not care about them. I get that. But what's happening right now is like truly insane. You know, J.D. Vance was at a rally and it's weird. Okay, I've just never seen somebody with less charisma. Like, J.D. Vance makes Ron DeSantis look like Ron White. Like, it's... Because when Ron DeSantis was running, I was like, why he smiling like that? He was just, do you remember his smile? He's right. He's like, it's like it hurt him to talk to people, person to person. Then J.D. Vance got in there and nobody was happy. And J.D. Vance said, you know, they asked him about how he felt about the whole rumor about the dogs and cats things affecting the Haitian community, why they've been zeroing in on Haitians specifically in Springfield for some reason. You know, he's from Ohio and everything like that. And he basically said, like, and you can look this up for yourself if you think I'm being unfair, but he basically said that, you know, this is a Democrat talking point and a point by the media and everything, as if he didn't say it. And then he basically says, you know, everyone loves talking about those Haitians in the community like they came here legally and are doing everything legally, but they were brought in and they were legalized through a process by Kamala Harris that is unconstitutional. So as long as they're here, I'm gonna call them illegal aliens. He's talking about the people who did the right thing, by the way. You'll still be illegal. You'll never not be illegal, in my view. That's wild. You can't do that. You just can't, because the law is supposed to be the law. You're supposed to be the party of law and order. You can't just be like, nuh-uh, that's not... It's not how the law is supposed to work, you know? And look, I think that one of the reasons we get pitted against each other really, really hard is because America makes a promise, and it makes a promise to everybody that they will have it better tomorrow. And a better tomorrow isn't coming for everybody because of systems in place to keep tomorrow like today. So when I see Donald Trump at a rally, and he says they're coming from Africa, they're coming from the Middle East, some of them are coming from Asia. These people are coming to our country, they're poisoning the blood of our country, and we have to get them out. I don't just think about people of color. I do think for a second about white people from the past, right? Because white wasn't always this like singular identity. There was a time in America where if you were Irish, you were spit on. Where if you were Italian, you were beat. And everything that Trump says about them is what they said about all those people in the background, right? About their great-grandparents. So they may cheer it on, but recognize if you have Italian descent, if you have Irish descent, if you're Greek, there was a time where you were not welcome here. And they said that your very presence and the presence of your children would destroy the country, would poison the blood. And then we became the most powerful country in the world. So clearly it's a lie. It's so clearly a lie. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as if I'm like, oh, you know, don't even have a program, open borders, just let everybody come in, spill it. The thing that they are painting, sometimes it's not even what's happening in the area. And look, I'm gonna tell you right now that I think that there should be a fair and legal and simple process for becoming a citizen. Do you know what I mean? And I think that having a process is not un-American. Having a process is not cruel, right? But there has to be a process. But then when that process is adhered to, you can't just be like, no, that's unmanageable. You know, that's wild to me. You know, I have friends who, one of my good friends is Italian, first generation Italian, and he's a bit older, and he tells me stories of what it was like for his family, right? And so much of it was based around fear. These Italians are coming over here, and they're gonna ruin everything with their good food. You know? And they were called criminals. There was an assumption that everybody, no matter who you were, in the Italian community was in the mob, and you were dangerous, and people should stay away from you, you know? It's everything. It's every single thing that's happening now. I'm not saying that there's no possibility of having an immigration problem. I'm not saying that it's not something that needs to be addressed. I'm saying the rhetoric that you use when you talk about people is important. No matter what you do when you build policy, you know? Because I would like the people who are hardworking, the people who are honest, the people who genuinely love America to be in America, you know? Because the same things that they do to immigrants now is what they did back in the day, you know? Maybe you were Irish, and maybe an Irish person in your community committed a crime, and now it's a crime on all of you. Not just one of you did it, y'all all did it. Every single one of you, and we're gonna make you feel like you did it. We're gonna put up signs, right? And if you're Irish, you know what those signs said. You know what I mean? So where did that get us? And where are we now? You know? Because we didn't send those Irish people back. We didn't send those Italian people back. You know, we found a way to make things work, and you build on a process and you improve it. I'm not saying there's not a process that doesn't need to be improved. I really am not. I'm saying that the way that you talk about people is important. Outside of anything else, whether they share some land with you or not. You know, and the same things that are happening now are what happened back then, you know? I'm scared of having a political process that's it's untenable. No.
Mira.